Greetings, everyone. We hope you are okay. Uh, we recorded the last video where we're analyzing the court case, and there were questions and comments that were posted, which we think it is necessary that we respond to them. But if you still have some questions which you did not have an opportunity to ask, please write in the comment section. We are responding to them now. I'm Ngabuto Nicholas Mabena. I hope you had a great weekend. The first comment is from Comrade Tulima Tlazita. He says, I read, you can't ask them because it is the Shonas and the Ndebeles issue continued. It's like the whites and the blacks of Zim, the rich and the poor. That truth must be told. Ibani neqiniso kanye nje. Comrade Tulani or Tuli Mahlazita, I'm a Marxist. I don't get involved in the ethnic politics. Yes, I'm of Ndebele origin, but ours is a class struggle. So to me, I don't care whether one is Shona, is Ndau, is Venda. I don't care. We're all human beings. I'm from this background that the society is made up of two people, the poor and the rich. And we, the poor, were the majority, the working class and the peasants. This is why we always talk of dismantling the capitalist system and place the entire economy of the world in the hands of the people as a whole. So I personally, I'm not into ethnic politics. I don't associate with that. Whether you are Shona, you are Ndebele, you are Venda, you are Kalanga, you are Sotho, you are Xhosa. If you believe in the struggle of the working class and peasants, you are my friend. But if you are a bourgeoisie, doesn't matter your nationality, your ethnic origins, you are my enemy, you are not my friend. That's me. Comrade Patrick Mataranyika writes, is there something Zim community leadership can do to assist all those who don't have critical skills? Like we said in the previous video, that we are still lobbying the ANC and the government to reconsider its position. We spoke about the upcoming national conference of the ANC, where it is going to adopt immigration policies and other policies. Our interest is in immigration policy, and we hope that they will certainly review their decision and accommodate holders of the Zimbabwe exemption permits. Thank you so much for those who have joined us. Um, there's a thanks, Comrade Kambakwe, a long time. And thanks for your comment, Comrade Ntombi Mhlang, and all of you. Comrade Norman Musekwa writes, Maswera say, Mr. Mabena, ngati rambe takabatana until the end my permit chichapiwa chete kana zwaramba our government yatifuratira. Yes, yeah, I'm struggling with the Shona. Comrade Norman Masego, I'm struggling with the Shona. But let me try and understand what you are saying. Masora say, Mr. Mabena, ngatirambe tikabatana. No, I understand you are saying we should be united. This is what we are trying to do. This is what we are trying to do, to say let's be united. And we know the deadline is end of May, and like I'm saying, maybe something will happen, and we believe that they will review the decision. We need to appeal. This is why we say it's difficult to negotiate with the government when you are in the courts, because you are saying we find it a bit strange, because you can't negotiate when you have taken a legal route. This is why ourselves were to stick to to negotiations as opposed to going to courts, because the people that you negotiate with, they will say, okay, you have decided to go to the courts, let the courts be the final arbitrator, as it were, so that they then implement whatever the court will have decided. So, yeah. Comrade Jeremiah Ndlovu says, Siyabonga, did not, and I thank you. We thank you as well. Comrade Memory Spanda, right? Now, are we possible to go home sibuye singelanhlupho ekuqaleni komnyaka ngama-ZEP? eh there are a lot of comrades that have been asking, because remember, the first immigration directive was up to 31st December 2022. And at the time, we did speak to the director for border controls, who had said even if you are given days, it is not a problem, because the directive ends at 30, it was ending 31st December 2022. Now that it is extended to 30th of June 2023, again, we do not think there's a problem. But we did highlight that depending on the official that you get at the port of entry, for those that were given days, because some will be having a permit in the old passport, and some permit in the old passport, you have a new passport which does not have a permit. So you need to uh, carry both the passport. So there's no problem, Comrade Memory, in coming back in January, if you go and visit. And Comrade Boniza Ndwalane, you wrote a long comment. We agree with you. We said, I will read briefly. You said, Mr. Mabena, we are 1000% correct, my brother. This gesture of Zimbabweans taking our government to court is highly annoying to all the majority of South Africans, and that is the reason why it is as if it is only the Zimbabweans that are hated in this country. Angolians, Botswanas, and the Lesothos never took our government to court. We understand, Comrade Boniza, like we say, we have many organizations representing Zimbabweans in South Africa. We are not the only one Zimbabwe community in South Africa, so we cannot dictate what other organizations should do. But we took a conscious decision that it is not in the best interest of everyone to approach the courts, because we understand how the special permits were granted, and we really understand the word special. It was negotiated from the onset. So we do not believe that you then have to resort to legal routes. But again, it's a choice that other people decided to do. Then says, someone says, as Mzansi Patro says, you are wrong, Patro. The so-called Ndebelers from Zim are the most dangerous ones in our country. Well, like I said, I personally, I don't get into the politics of ethnicity. I just ignore. I know it's a reality that uh, we in Africa, not only in Zimbabwe, but in Africa, we've had wars along ethnic lines, we've had genocides. And in the main, it is perpetrated by the political leadership. As a leader myself, I should not divide people based on their ethnicity. I know that when people go to party congresses, as well going again to elections in 2023 in Zimbabwe, people mobilize along ethnicity. You go to Congress, then you are told that this person cannot lead a political party because they belong to this ethnic group. That's not what we are for. We don't entertain such issues. We believe that a person gets elected based on their ability to lead, not based on where they come from, their ethnicity, their origins, and so forth. Comrade Lakmo Sundirai says, I want to apply for a waiver, but ever since I asked my boss to give me the paperwork, they don't want to give the paperwork, so I don't know what to do now. You need to firstly check whether you qualify. I think we've done 4 or 5 videos explaining about the waivers. And remember, we said we have been engaging the department. Up to now, we do not have a response on how domestic workers and other people doing what we consider to be low skill should apply for waivers who are still struggling in that area. I hope this is Reverend Maqhawe Ncube. Siyaphila baba umfundisi, if it is you. Thank you so much for your comment. The Mbuyazis TV says, "Good day, Comrade Mabena. Is there a way of doing a follow-up on sponsored visa, which applied in July this year?" Yes, please. You can do a follow-up and check with them on how far they are. We also know that many people applied earlier this year. They have not been responded to. When we asked the acting deputy director for Home Affairs, he did say that they are responding, but please do check so that at least you know what is happening. And Comrade Ruthie Nono says the first time hearing me making sense. It was in reference to the last video that we recorded talking about or the court case or analyzing the court case, and the things it was my first time to to make sense. It's only that Comrade Ruth will not be listening to me because I'm Zimbabwean, you're South African, and you think that we should be hating each other. That's not it. And then there's a comment by one comrade which we need to address. Is from Operation Tutula. Says they will be taking CVs of South Africans that are not working and so on. We respect that. I might say that we I did at some point when we went to the TV studio, met members of the Operation Tutula, and some of our comrades have met with the members of the Operation Tutula. In our informal discussions with the comrades from Operation Tutula, we do understand each other. We do understand their challenges because the reason why some of them decided to constitute themselves into Operation Tutula is the issue of unemployment. Unemployment is getting out of hand, not only in South Africa, but globally. But I think the only challenge that Prop Operation Dula needs to deal with, and the others, of course, is to do a scientific analysis on why there's high unemployment, on why the economy is not performing well. Because when you then do a scientific analysis, you will not attribute that to the presence of migrants. But we said when I think earlier this year when we was talking about the Ivory Coast, we said that when it got independence in the 1960s, I think it was Ivory Coast, if my memory serves me well. They started driving out people of Sudan, and I think Ethiopians and people of Sudan from Ivory Coast because they thought that their economic problems were as a result of the presence of migrants in their country, which Operation Tutula seem to understand, but it is not. It is not. Of course, I know the comrades might not agree, but when you do a scientific analysis, you then come to understand that it is not the presence of migrants. In any case, migrants are exploited. This is why it's important that all migrants must join trade unions so that we deal with the question of exploitation. But there are many South African workers who are exploited as well. I remember one day in Central Joburg, I was asking this South African lady who was distributing pamphlets at a street corner, and I was saying, how much are you making per day if you are distributing these pamphlets? If you go to Braamfontein, Central Joburg, you find that many of them, they will be distributing pamphlets in the streets. It's a result of an economy that is not performing. We need to get into productive economy. So it's not proper to blame the presence of migrants, but we must begin to say, why are we not engaged into productive economy where we produce the goods? I'm using this laptop, which I'm using to record. I've got my other gadget, my cell phone here. They might not be manufactured in Africa. we are simple buying these things, use them, which are manufactured by other people in some continents. These are the things that as Africans we need to deal with, to say, how do we get engaged in productive work so that we create employment, we place the economy in the hands of the majority. Then I go to political questions. Where I think we have dealt with the questions on migration. But if you still have a question on migration, please do post it before we sign off, so that we we respond to your questions. And Comrade Norman Musekwa says, let's just hope ZANU-PF loses elections next year. Uh, um, yeah, we hope it will. We hope it will. But for it to lose elections, which we've addressed, is that all of us must be registered voters. And I said in one of the video that some opposition leaders are disarming potential voters, because this issue of always saying elections in Zimbabwe are rigged, then the question is, why should people vote when the outcome is already known? So we should refrain from popularizing the rigging by ZANU-PF. Instead, as political leaders, we must then find a solution to rigging. But if we go to a rally and say, no, ZANU-PF is going to rig elections, you go on TV or social media, ZANU-PF is going to rig elections, people will not register to vote. So it's important that we register to vote. Comrade Jabu Hangami wrote, do we need Democrats to select the best two leaders? Yes, it's important, because communist parties, remember I'm a communist, practice what is called democratic centralism. Even at the workplace, workers do participate in the electoral process to elect their representatives. So it's a democratic process. So it is important that people at grassroots level must participate in the electoral process, must participate in choosing who should be their councillor. And Comrade Mazivisa Shepard Sindiso writes, is Zimbabwe ready for the 2023 elections? Zimbabweans are ready to vote in 2023. This is why we always encourage people to register, but Zimbabweans are ready to vote in 2023 elections. And I don't think there is a willingness from anyone to boycott or to even postpone the elections. We should probably have done that in 2017 when Mugabe left office, was forced to resign. We should have formed an inclusive government, but that did not happen. So we think that Zimbabweans are ready to participate in the electoral process in 2023. And Comrade Alpheus Fuyana, some words that he wrote, I don't understand. This is the last comment, comrades. Has Zimbabwe been reduced to a citizen where voters only input so to vote? And then I don't understand most of his comments. Then he says, is it about the jobs to fill in the bellies of the politicians? We must have our own representatives, because we have 210, and I think we have so many MPs. When we vote, is not that people should become public representatives. We are a country of about 30 million or so. 210, it's a big number of members of parliament. We don't vote so that people go and eat as it were in parliament, but we vote so that they assist at this stage in reforming the Zimbabwean state before we transit to socialism. So it is important that we vote, we stabilize our economy, we have our own currency in Zimbabwe, we reduce the number of Zimbabweans that are coming to South Africa, going to Botswana, and in other countries. we rebuild our industry so that young people can get employment in Zimbabwe. This is why it's important that we should participate in the electoral process. Otherwise, comrades, thank you so much. If you will watch this video late, please write your comments or your questions in the comment section. We will find ways of responding to your questions. Comrade Nozipho Ncube, right, ngifisa ngabe kulamadona abangasponsor nge-transport abantu base-diaspora abafisa ukurejista lokuvota kodwa izandla zemali ye-transport zimfitshane. In fact, Comrade Nozipho Ncube, we should be having diaspora vote. ZANU-PF always says because of sanctions, we cannot have diaspora vote. It cannot campaign. There's no African country or an Asian country or even Eastern Europe that has placed Zimbabwe under sanctions. We know that it is European Union and the United States of America. So the argument by ZANU-PF does not hold. ZANU-PF, they've got political structures in South Africa, they have political structures in London. So they have capacity to mobilize their own supporters in the diaspora. So the issue of them saying sanctions must, trying to link the sanctions to the diaspora vote, it's just nonsense because they have political structures in the diaspora. Their own supporters in the diaspora will have to travel to Zimbabwe to cast their vote. So what we need is not transport to transport people to go and vote, but what we need is diaspora vote so that people can vote at the Zimbabwe embassy in Botswana, in Zambia, in South Africa, in Mozambique, in Tanzania, wherever Zimbabweans are, and they cast their votes because it is their right to participate in the electoral process. Comrades, thank you so much. Have a lovely week ahead of us. Please stay blessed. Be safe. Last time we said if you check social media, you'll hear that someone is missing. So please, let's try to be safe. Let's protect one another. We also saw over the weekend that is it SDA? SDA church was robbed by thugs in central Johannesburg. The pastor was busy preaching. Six gunmen entered the premises or the church and robbed everyone inside. This is just insane. We should avoid these issues. Let's try to be safe. Let us in our communities isolate criminal gangs. Comrade Puza Thursday, I don't know what the question mark is about. I might have missed your question. Okay, I've scrolled back. You said, are you going home for Christmas and are you coming back to my Comrade Puza Thursday? We will discuss about me some other time. I know people have an interest to discuss about Ngabuto Mapena. Who's Ngabuto Mapena? What does he do? Does he want to remain in South Africa forever? Does he want to relocate to Zimbabwe? Does he have relatives who are South Africans? People want to know more. We will discuss this next day. I promise you, we'll discuss this next year. For now, it is not the right time. But indeed, Comrade Punza, I would, you're also laughing. Comrade Punza, I will go for Christmas and come back to our country, South Africa. It is not only your country. Otherwise, comrades, have a great week ahead and please stay safe with your families. We love you. Please subscribe, circulate, and like this video. Goodbye.